Welcome to Breaking the Law podcast with me, Casey.
Me, Scott Sharp.
Me, Thorp.
And today's special guest, Reanne Francis. Reanne, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks. I've known you now for quite about 7 years almost. So we used to work together back in Pure Gym. But just tell us a bit about yourself, where you come from.
I'm originally from Huddersfield, not that far away from where we are now. Grew up in a very rough area. Did you guys heard of Thorp?
No.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh.
Have you?
I've heard of it,
I've
yeah.
heard of it.
Of course I have. Don't go down there. Don't go down there.
And I've been in Leeds since 2010. And then obviously just sort of like doing what I do best, which is like working out, coaching with people and stuff like that. So
Good. We'll get all into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Boys, how's your week been? What have you been doing?
Alright, I've been doing some filming for a little YouTube show.
Yeah? Can you say too much about it? Or
Can't say much about it, but...
Can you say about the names that are involved?
Yeah, there's a few...
Big time names.
It looks sick, to be fair.
It does look very good, yeah.
Fuck it, with madness. All I'm going to say is I had to eat some horrible shit and I had to do some horrible shit.
what's the trial sort of shit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I'm a celebrity sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Surin Strong or something like that? Some fermented fish.
No.
It's in a can.
Oh, fish in a can.
My brother told me that you've got to like keep it underwater for 3 days.
You've got to open it underwater so
You
it
got
can
this?
fucking...
What?
Really?
It's
That bad?
fermented fish, it's like...
So what to eat that Ollie or just you?
Well, you know, you'll find out very soon.
My week's been good. Took over my new club that I mentioned a couple of podcasts ago. I got
Are you allowed to announce that yet? Or?
Yeah, Farsi Telly.
Yeah, good.
Now they're 21.
Time this comes out, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you probably sat by then.
So I went out, we had trials, we had over 60 odd players trial for 2 teams. And the 23s are absolutely class and they've just started in the under 21s, but some really good players there. There's a young lad really small, he's like Messi. Unbelievable.
Yeah. What's it called? Clean?
No, mate.
Have you seen all stuff this week about Wayne Rooney?
No, I've seen
a video this morning.
What, you don't tell him?
Yeah, he's been having it.
Is that him though?
Yeah.
It's been what?
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
It's been
Yeah.
what?
He's been having it off with someone else.
Has he?
Yeah, someone taking Snapchats and videos of
He
it.
looks about 25 though, and he looks about 50 in real life.
He doesn't
He
look
looks
50.
bad now,
He's
doesn't he?
younger than Ronaldo.
That's mad.
That's mad, isn't
But
it?
he's a
That's
specimen.
mental.
Have you seen that Sigurdsson as well from Everton? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Well, but
Have you seen it?
just before you get into that, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to speak about it because anyone who makes a meme of something, you get banned from online, get arrested. So let's not even go into
Oh,
that.
really? Oh.
Let's not go into that.
Take me away because I'm going to go.
Google Sigurdsson from Everton.
Madness.
You'll see it come up, yeah.
Madness.
Oh.
Cool. So, Reanne, I'm going off with yourself. How was school for you? What was it like growing up? What kind of kid were you in school?
I was a bit of a class clown, if I'm honest.
Were you?
Yeah, a bit of a class clown.
Yes.
I really sporty, obviously, kind of ties in with like how I am now. But I think for the most part, I was just such a lad, like really, really big tomboy. Like always used to love playing footy, rugby, stuff like
You've
that.
got balls, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my god! They always make it, and I'm like, fuck. Yeah, rock pots, TNs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And school was pretty good, to be fair. Like I know I grew up in like a really rough area, but it was when you're from that area, it just is what it is, isn't it?
Feels
like,
normal.
Yeah, it's not
it
rough
feels
to you,
normal.
but
It's not
yeah,
rough
yeah.
to you. Like it's just people having like I remember when I first got into high school, and these 2 lads that were like in a gang at the time beat up the PE teacher, and it was just like,
Yeah.
this is just everyday life.
That's coming for you, that is.
Yeah.
That's
Next.
You better get on the weights, like she said.
Get pumping that iron.
Fucking hell.
But then it's pretty good, to be fair. Like I never really had a hard time in school. Like I got bullied when I was in junior school, but that was by these 2 girls. But that one on for like a couple of years.
Did you shy down at that, or did you fight back?
Do you know what? I'm not a fighter.
You're not?
No, genuinely not. A lot of people look at me and like they're just like, oh, I won't mess with her. And I'm like, never had a fight in my life. I think I like scratched this lad in his face once and that's it. But he pulled me hair.
Did it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Fair play.
So back in school then, what was it you wanted to be? Like I know what you are now, you're helping so many people,
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of online stuff, you've got thousands of followers. You've been on TV recently, which we'll get into that as well.
Yeah.
But what did you want to be in school?
Athlete.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, athlete. And actually, for a very long time, an actress, well, now called actors, not actors or actresses, isn't it? Yeah, I wanted to nail drama, get rich, become famous, you know.
If you could have got into that and been, would you have been in like the West End? Would you have been like a drama, like a thriller or a horror or a comedy? What would you be? Not dream role, because you can't really say that, but what kind of genre would you want to go in, and what do you think you'd have suited the best?
I think it probably would have been like Marvel.
All right, yeah.
Like being in the Marvel universe.
Marvel geek, aren't you?
Yeah.
Huge Marvel
Love all that stuff. Love all that stuff. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite Marvel character?
So
you can only have one as well.
Only one? Right, Thor. Because he's just,
Thor's bad boy.
Yeah, he's a boy.
I prefer Thor though with the long hair. I don't like the new films.
Oh, the Ragnarok Thor. Oh, to be fair, he's pretty hot in that.
Yeah, I would in that, yeah.
I would have stunned double in that, you know.
I was like, really? I want to get some. Alright, okay, cool. So tell about when you left school then. When you left school, what did you do work-wise? Did you stay on an athlete route, or did you...
No, so when I left school, like, I worked for Huddersfield Town Stadium, like, at the boxes, like, giving people the food and stuff like that. As you do, just earning money. Went to college, did, like, dance, IT, performance studies, and then basically kind of got thrown into dance by accident, because that's kind of how I got to where I am with coaching now, is that, like, I applied for this one course at college and they were like, oh, it's full, but we can put you in this other one that's just like it. And I'm pretty sure dance is nothing like the other one that I went for. Anyway, threw me in it, and then ended up training at the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, which is in Chapeltown, which is like, I had no idea, like there are 3 conservatoires in the UK, so this is like top dog in terms of dancing. Like you've got to audition and stuff like that, and like hundreds of people do it every year. And I think only about 30 people get on per year. So I ended up auditioning for that, and then spent 4 years training to be a professional contemporary dancer, and then obviously from there, that's actually when I started working at Pure. Shortly after that,
Did you get through then? Obviously, you got through.
I got through.
Oh, nice.
So basically,
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm not dancing now though. No, like I think that was the closest that I felt to being an athlete, because you genuinely had to wake up, you know, crack of dawn, and you're dancing all day, every day. It was like from 7:30 in the morning till like 6, sometimes 9 in the evening if you had rehearsals and stuff. It's like all day, constant, relentless. Yeah. So.
Is that where you got your discipline of where you are now? Because the person that I met 7 years ago is not nowhere near the person that you are today.
Yeah.
Like I remember Reanne crying. I remember like Reanne like. Let's put it straight. Like you weren't very like confident or anything, like being in a authoritative position. I remember when you got a promotion at work, and I just remember like you wasn't the person you are now.
Yeah.
So what's happened from 7 years ago to today to make you so mentally strong, and what's been your motivation?
I guess what's changed is that I've actually worked on myself. I know it sounds really, really cheesy and cliche, but I've put the work in just to sort of recognise what my flaws were with my own mental health, with, you know, my insecurities and everything else like that. And it's just taken time. Like there's nothing dramatic that's happened. It's just been that over the years, as I've sort of fine-tuned my own mindset, it's changed me as a person. And my motivation really is just to sort of show up as the best version of myself to other people. Like,
and that's kind of where, with the whole mental health stuff, and the reason why we started this, is not understanding yourself as a person. And once you start to understand why you feel a certain way, or you feel, you feel a little bit sensitive to something, or a little bit oversensitive to something, that's when you can start to become the best version of yourself. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm at as well. And that's just a little bit of common ground, really. Because I went through a lot of struggles, and then now learning about myself and feeling that these feelings and stuff are not necessarily going to go away forever. But learning to deal with it and knowing myself as a person, I can then build and be myself. And so I feel that completely feel that.
100%. Like it is, because thinking about when you first met me, I wasn't very self-aware at all, and I'd only just recently come out of the closet as well.
Had you?
Yeah.
So that's something I want to speak about as well today. Like, I know you've got a very strong family behind you.
Yeah.
How was it like when you did do that? What age was that for you?
So the first time.
You're back in again.
I went back in. Honestly, yeah. So
what age did you know you were gay?
I literally, since I was like 4 or 5 years old. Even my mum knew. Like I just always used to be obsessed with one of my teaching assistants, and then the more you think about it, you're just like, oh well, that's obviously where it stemmed from. Like not stemmed from, but that's when I first started, knowing that there was obviously like a connection to like
Yeah.
women. But when I was like 14, I was obsessed with one of my best mates.
Yeah.
Yeah, like absolutely.
She knows
obsessed.
because she might be finding
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
She
no,
knows.
she knows. Don't worry.
Breaking
She
news.
knows.
Amanda. Whatever her name is.
Not where you guessed it first time.
It's not Amanda, is it?
No.
Oh, God,
No, she's called Lisa, and like definitely one of the prettiest girls in year. And then I remember telling one of my best mates, and I was like, tell Lisa how I feel. And they were like, are you sure?
Oh.
Are you sure?
Oh.
And then I was like, yeah. Me being delusional, thinking she's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's what I think at sunset.
Yeah.
she had a boyfriend at the time as well. And then they basically told, I think the whole year was doing maths at the time, because you know how like, as a year you do subjects at school. Is that how it works still? No.
Yeah, and then after a certain year you break off into your own thing.
So what you do is
We always did maths, didn't
you
you?
go to year 9, so you do everything in year 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And then you go off into your options.
Ah,
So you do more, but
right,
you still
okay.
do maths, English and science, but you just do sort of, it's more refined like PE if you choose PE, or geography or history or whatever. So
Thorp's got no idea what he's speaking about because So me and Thorp went to school together, and we've only just known Casey for the past year.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to think of school as stories from school and stuff. I'm like, you didn't go to school, did you? You didn't go to school for
I stayed at home, what, Step Brothers every day?
Yeah. Like year 9, year 10, you weren't there.
Thorp is like, yeah, you do different subjects and that.
Yeah.
Maths.
Stay in school, kids.
And the entire year was doing maths, and anyway, they gone and told Lisa, and she fucking came out of her set. She was like, started screaming down the corridor, going, "Oh, would you still fancy me if I smashed all my teeth and pulled my hair out?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" So outed me to the entire year, and I was just like,
And how were you feeling?
I went to the toilets, I started crying. I was like, "Shit, I'm gonna get bullied. I'm gonna get like." Yeah. Just whatever. But everyone already knew that I was gay.
They did.
Apart from me.
Well, everyone
not
had one of them
admitting it.
people in school as well.
Yeah.
She could be,
Yeah.
you know,
So then I kind of like went with it for, I think, I'm not even joking, I think it was 2 weeks, and then got with a guy.
Rewind! Fucking
That's what I mean,
I was just joking around with you.
Honestly, it was when I first joined Pure Gym, and obviously Pure Gym, there was so many good-looking people there, weren't there? You'll back me up on this.
Yeah.
And we used to be like, oh, yeah, we don't know about Reanne, we just can't work out if she is or not. And then we was told, oh, she's had boyfriends in the past. And we're like, oh, she's fair game then.
Yeah.
She's fair game, let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
Scott's got his eyebrows done, he's like...
And then obviously you are, and then it was very clear that you are thinking, but when you did come out to your family, to your sisters, whoever, they were all accepting, they were all...
Well, the first time, my sister started crying. She was quite young then as well. It's like, oh my god, Rianne's gay. I think it was more of like they were scared how other people were going to treat me, because some people do treat you differently when they know that you're gay.
Where you're from as well, was it a big thing where you're from?
Yeah, and that's why it took me so long to even like accept myself, because even growing up, I actually stopped playing football because I was scared it was going to turn me into a lesbian. And I'm a lesbian anyway.
Yeah.
I was doing really well. I used to play Huddersfield Town Ladies, and I could have gone quite far with it, and I consciously made the choice of not doing it.
How long
because
ago did you
people
play
were
Huddersfield?
It's going to turn you into
I think...
I coached at Huddersfield.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
It was years ago. I think I stopped playing when I was like 12, 13 maybe.
Okay.
I consciously remember it was just before I turned 14, because I was like, shit, once I turn 14 and I keep playing, I'm going to turn into a lesbian.
Wow, that's mad.
Destiny has its ways.
That's mad.
Yeah. And that's because of the comments people were making, like, oh, well, apparently girls that play footy, like, just lesbians, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so... ended up...
So you could have made it then and been a
big
time footballer, but you didn't want to be lesbian, but you...
I'm a lesbian anyway. You can't deny your true
Two-time
nature.
lesbian.
Two-time. Yeah. Not just once, but twice.
So tell us about the second time. Now, what happened the second time around?
So the second time, I was...
Because you'd had boyfriends in between, and then...
Yeah, I'd had 3 boyfriends in between. I feel sorry for the last lad, to be fair, because it went shortly after that, and I was just like, I'm gay. And he tried coming back, and he was like, oh, do you want to get back together? I was like, nope.
Well, I feel like,
He must have felt like
me?
yeah.
Something I did.
I didn't do that to you.
Yeah. I think that's always worried about that. Like, oh my god, you turned gay. But no, the second time was just, I just accepted it, and I was just like, there was a girl that I used to work with, and I was just like, yeah, I'm definitely gay. Like, I didn't sleep with her or anything, like, I just fancied her, but I was just like, yeah, I'm not dabbling with guys anymore, so.
So, at this time, you don't mind talking about it, had you already dabbled with girls? Had you had a girlfriend?
No, and actually, like, my sort of track record, compared to most people in the gay scene, it's actually not that big, because it's normally as soon as you come out, like if you're in your teenage years, as you do, you just you crack on
Shag
and
about.
you just you just have a good time. But I was like 23, 24 when I came out, so I was really late to the scene and didn't have like a group of like gay mates that were just like, oh, let's just go out and stuff, you know what I mean? So it was a slow burner.
They solved that because they just got no penny and solved that straight.
Yeah, exactly. That sticky floor.
Oh jeez.
Wait, is New Penny Gay Club? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't
Come
know.
on.
I've been invited.
I seen your dress upstairs. All
I've been invited up 'cause I've never been there.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool, that's fine. We'll crack on to the next bit. Cool, so I've known you from school.
Yeah.
That's from school. I've known you from from work.
Yeah.
Was it working in gyms which made you want to be a PT, or?
Do you know, even when I was like training to be a dancer, everybody was just like, have you thought about being a PT? And I was really offended at the time, because I was just like, I'm fucking training to be a dancer and you're turning around saying that I need to be a PT.
Because back then you weren't as like shredded as you are now.
No. I was skinny back then. Like I didn't lift much at all when I first started at Pure. But yeah, just over the years, people was like, oh, you should be a coach, be a PT. Because I had no confidence. I was like, I can't tell other people what to do. Not that I'm like a bloody dictator or anything like that, do you know what I mean? But just being in that leadership role, I was just shit scared of it, hence your experience of me when I first started.
Yeah. Again, the person that you was back then is not the person that you are now. So
what would you perceive me as then back then compared to now?
One of the quiet kids, like especially if on a night out or whatever. Like you were one of the quiet ones. Like we had Will and big characters and Josh.
Yeah.
Like even like Ed and the big characters and stuff. But you were one of the quiet ones. Like, but now I reckon you'd be one that way, either leading the party or telling people what shot to take, or like that's what I imagine you do.
No.
No. So what? When did you like start? When did you get all that confidence? What motivates you to be where you are now? Because for me, I have to watch videos. I have to watch YouTube to like get myself to go to the gym, to do whatever. But you are just this same happy, energetic person every day. How?
I mean, I definitely it ebbs and flows. Just everyone's highlight reel is obviously when they're feeling happiest and everything else like that. And I've definitely had my ups and my downs, and it's I think it just comes with experience of knowing myself and having that awareness and just knowing how to turn things around and flip the switch really quickly, because it used to take me so long. Like even thinking back to when you first knew me, like I'd have so many moments where I'd like have a really, really down sort of moment and I'd be crying, I'd literally be anxious as hell, and it would take me so long to just get out of that patch, whereas now, because I've got that awareness, I just know exactly what I need to do to get out of it. And I guess like in regards to confidence, that's just come from experience of just doing the things that I know that I need to do for myself to flip the switch, and I've kind of got to the point now where I don't really care what people think about me. I don't mean in the psychopath ways, in like I'm just going to do whatever I want. But I think most people anyway, hopefully get to a certain point where they're just like, do you know what? I just want to be myself and just show up as the best version of myself, and I don't really care if other people are going to judge me for who I am. And I guess that again, that's just part and parcel with me, sort of the stuff that I do to sort of like flip the switch and sort of keep my mental head strong is like journaling, meditation. I listen to loads of podcasts. I listen to like motivational videos sometimes as well. Yeah. Like I remember before I got the team leader role, I was like watching loads of E.T. the hip hop preacher.
I love him. I love E.T. Do you know E.T. is? Oh, he's a cracker's guy.
Yeah.
He just does like he's an American guy. He's probably the best motivational speaker in America. He really is.
Yeah.
So you used to watch all that stuff, did you, to get motivated?
Yeah. And then I think the biggest game changer probably has just been doing lots of reading as well. And it just kind of, the more you read and the more you soak all this stuff up, it's always the same stuff, just in a slightly different context of like, focus on your mental health. Like the mind and body are interconnected, you can't separate them. So more often than not, when you train physically, you work on yourself mentally, and you build resilience both physically and mentally, which I think that speaks highly for where I am now, because since I've honed into my training, my mindset's completely shifted as well. So
how's that for you, seeing her like that and talking like that? Obviously you see her now as obviously really influential and a really strong character. The fact that Reanne still watches motivational videos, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's mad because like
knowing her already, how does? And
I've said this before. I've commented on many videos saying stuff like, "How do you stay motivated?" Like, how do you feel now that people are now? Sorry to go for your question, but how do you feel people are going full circle? from people now watching you to get motivated. Like I watched you,
yeah.
and I've been sat for the past few weeks thinking, shit, I need to like make myself feel fit or whatever when you come, because I've been a lazy bastard this week. I wanted to sit here and say, yeah, I've been doing this week. I've been to gym once this week. I've been really bad this week. So how do you feel like people watching?
For the past 10 years.
So how do you feel now that people are watching you and like maybe not on the level of ET,
taking that motivation
now?
People.
Do you see yourself as that person? 'Cause that's what you are.
Yeah, I guess in some way, and that's part of one of my goals is to sort of be an authority within the master of my craft, which is coaching and inspiring other people. And I guess part of me sort of doing what I do every day is that I just want to positively impact other people. Like that is what I'm passionate about. And I guess every day I'm thinking, right, okay, if I can sort of relate to other people and they can understand that, it's quite easy to look at somebody like me now, especially, and just assume that I was born with X, Y, and Z, which is why I'm here now. And I've literally gone through shit.
Everybody wants the goal, but not the process.
Oh yeah.
That's a slogan that I live by, and I do it myself. Like Scott said there, he's been at the gym once. I went running a couple of weeks ago and I injured my foot because I did too much.
Yeah.
I don't want the process of going running.
Yeah.
But I want the
reward.
The reward of sitting there on the beach.
Yeah.
And that's
Damn fucking right.
And for people that want the goal, it's such a process, isn't it? Like you say, you don't just go bang and I look like this. And people don't see behind the scenes. You're sat here now talking as your experiences, but you'll go away and this don't end for you. You'll go home and you'll still put the hard work in. For me, I know I probably won't. Scott, I don't know about you. Fabi, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to go home and go, fuck it, I'm going to go running 10 miles. I want to, because I want that body, but after I'd done the run, I felt good about it. And I'm like, but I have to do it again. Can't just do it once and then it all works. It's that process, isn't it? Everybody wants to go on the process.
If you could just autopilot yourself.
Just
for a few hours.
Wake up 5 years from now, you're like, oh fuck!
It's mad that you say that, because I was sat here thinking, God, if I started 7 years ago when I met you, like where would I be now? Like you're the way you are now because you've been doing this for so long, but like.
You can start now though. The thing is when it comes to the physical side of it, even in the mental side as well, the stuff you need to do to get to where you want to be is easy, but it's easier not to do it. Because it's so easy to do.
Of course.
And that's the battle, and it's just having that choice every day of like, right, okay, every time that I choose to do or don't do something, that's a vote for the person that you want to be. And you can dictate that by either sort of like, do you know what, okay, I'm going to rein it in a little bit, or I don't really give a fuck.
I'll just have 3 wagon wheels today.
If you are in 4, that's better than
So within a year then, like, I know for myself, I'd say majority of the year, I'm like, I can't be arsed. And I'm making myself an excuse not to go and do something. How many days a year do you have of those days?
I'd say a fair few. I even had one just a couple of weeks back. So a couple of weeks.
I'll hope you say like yesterday or today.
Well, to be fair, I had a workout on Friday, the conditioning piece at the end, the WOD. It was just butters. It was just disgusting. I was like, I really don't want to do this. It's regularly like I love the training that is difficult, and I have to have that mental battle, but it fucking hurts. Like it really, really hurts. So it's more often than not, I'm always finding myself, because I've got a competition coming up as well. It's even harder because you've got to push at a certain intensity and you just literally got to bury yourself. So it's.
So what is it you competed in?
CrossFit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that involved?
Fucking nightmare.
Literally.
You know what? I was speaking to a girl recently, just a girl that I know, and I mentioned that you were potentially coming on, and she's like, oh, she's the girl that does CrossFit, because she does it. And she's like massive on it. And she was just we were just chatting about it. Like, I don't know what it is.
It's
but I know it's hard. Work. She'd mentioned that she knows who you are and that you do all that, and I was like, I do know what it is.
I don't know too much about CrossFit. What is it and how do you compete?
It's literally, so you basically compete by going to these like different events. So I'm doing one in Colchester in September. It's spread over 3 days, probably about 6 or 7 events, maybe 8. And it's just different tests. Just think of it as CrossFit is the sport of fitness. You do like weightlifting, gymnastics. You could have fucking like a mini triathlon in there, something like that. It's like the unknown and unknowable. And so you basically train like a wide variety. And that's why I love it, is because I can literally, my session on Friday was like Olympic lifting, deadlifts, into some like strongman accessory work, and then into like some disgusting sort of like conditioning piece. And I just love the grunt work. And CrossFit, when you want to compete, it's just about getting all that stuff done. So it's like a really wide variety of stuff.
Are you better in some things than others?
Yeah, 100%.
You are?
Yeah, like gymnastics is my weakest point, but again, it kind of ties into my mindset now. It's like, right, okay, I need to work on my weaknesses so that they become a strength. So
In terms of, so if it were me and I got really fit,
yeah,
if I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm gonna have some chicken and rice or whatever, I would go, no, I'm just gonna have a McDonald's. So I'll have McDonald's because that's not going to affect me there and then because I'm not fit. How do you have cheat days where you can eat what you want, but then how do you come back?
What do you have?
How do you come back from that and go? Because if it were me, I'd go, I'm gonna have a cheat day today. I'm gonna eat everything that I want, and then the day after, I'm like, oh, it's not gonna affect me again. And then I know that it'd be every single day, and then I'd become unfit. How do you then get fit? Like, how do you then get motivated again to come back from it?
I guess it's you've got to find the balance that works best for you, and also this comes down to understanding that you don't have to be perfect in order to get the results that you want. And this is something that I preach to my clients all the time. Like, it's so easy to fall into that all or nothing mindset of like, right, I've got to do fucking chicken, broccoli and rice 7 days a week and that's it. And that's when you normally fall off because it's too restrictive and it's unrealistic.
It's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's boring. Like, you have a few tea with your mates and just like have a bit of, like, I had a fucking 4K beer and a cinnamon roll from my favourite coffee shop and I'm having pizza after. But people assume that I'm always just eating healthily. And the best way to do it is like, if you are training, 80% of just eating, you know, moderate, few veggies, like get your proteins and everything else like that, and the 20% you just eat however you want. But more often than not, it's just controlling the volume, portions and stuff, because when you're too far at either end of the scale or too restrictive or way off where you need to be, that's when it's harder to find that middle ground. But it's more often than not, it's just a mindset of understanding that you don't have to be perfect to get to where you want to be.
What's the worst thing you've eaten all week?
All week.
Is that the same for you? Let's say the past 2 months.
Chinese yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I was at my mate's.
We're alright. We're doing alright.
I had 3 fish finger sandwiches earlier.
Yeah. I love a fish finger sandwich.
Fucking omega oils in and all that.
Yeah, Chinese yesterday. Like with the weekend for me, it's like social. It's like, you know, just like everybody really. You catch up with your mates and stuff. Like down in Sheffield, watching my best mate's brother at a gig, and when we got back, Chinese with his parents, red wine, playing board games until like 1 in the morning, just a chilled one. And yeah, pizza and pastries today.
Nice.
So,
Heartburn.
yeah. Another Gabby's gone.
Cool. So you've recently been on TV recently,
Yes.
on SAS Who Dares Wins. Congratulations on that, because
Thank
you was
you.
fucking amazing. I can't believe how well you did, how like hard you worked. They didn't really show too much of you, but do you think that's because they knew you left?
No, so basically the reason why that is, the producer, when he basically called us each week to check in how we were doing, and he was like, try to let everyone know in the nicest way possible, like if they weren't in it that much or at all, so they just won't kick off and go on social media and be like, this is shit.
Yeah.
And he said from the off, he was just like, look, he said, because you didn't really struggle with any of the challenges, we did struggle to sort of get you in.
You did make good TV.
Yeah.
You just kind of
Yeah, and then he said, so we've got some of your main features like how you are with other people, you know, like being positive and stuff like that. I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't go on it to get the TV exposure, I went on it for the experience. So, and I did say that. And I was like, it's going to be more people that are watching that are going to feel cheated if it's not like, because every week people are like, where are you?
Yeah, I was thinking the same, because obviously I knew you. I found out that you won it from your sister. Your sister put up on, before episode 1 came out, saying that Reanne's doing SAS Who Dares Wins, and I thought, do you know what, for the person that you are now, that is exactly your kind of thing. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever seen SAS Who Dares Wins.
I've seen it, yeah.
You've seen it,
yeah, I've seen it.
So like every week there's always some, like, you know, someone struggling and someone doing really well. She never struggled. I mean, you might tell me you did mentally, but like you couldn't see it on camera.
Yeah.
You never struggled. You was never in like the back of the pack. You was always in the middle or doing really well.
Yeah.
All the jumps and stuff that you had to do, you did amazing.
Yeah.
But just out of the blue, you left.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think people know why, but do you want to explain why you left? Or?
Yeah, of course. So literally, it was the morning of day 9 that I'd left, and that was just shy of like 48 hours when they had left. And I just felt like by that point, I'd achieved everything that I wanted to, and I was just really happy with where I was. I felt like I was just in an amazing place. And if I'm honest, I didn't want to fucking do interrogation anyway. Like, you're
is that the one with bags over here?
Apparently, I mean, I don't know if this is people just chatting shit, but you are only supposed to do that process twice in your entire life because it is so
intimidating,
like mentally sort of challenging. Like, you know, some of the recruits after on the WhatsApp group, they were just like, oh mate, I was seeing fucking Mickey Mouse when I had that hood on over made, and I was like, oh my god.
How long do they have to leave it on? Like,
Well,
days or something?
Well, I think for like the entire time that they're interrogating the recruits, it depends how long that takes, but it's definitely between 8-9 hours maybe.
Is it? Yeah.
So whenever you're not being interrogated, you've got this. It's like white noise. It's like pigs squealing.
Oh, yeah,
babies
yeah.
crying.
Now you mention that, actually,
Wow.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I thought they took you from A to B with it on.
They make you
No.
sit with your arms folded.
Oh.
Your legs crossed and all this shit. Like.
Yeah, they put you in stress positions. So like in between doing like the main tasks, apart from interrogation, you have just got a hood on and like the ear stuff on. But during the interrogation process, depending on what your body language is like, they sort of assess if you're fidgeting, if something's painful, they make you stay there because they want you to be in pain. They want you to be in a stressed state. And then you've got these sounds playing through the earphones. You can't see anything. You've got the goggles on over the hoods, so it's just darkness and all these sounds playing.
Do they only do that with the people that get to the end then?
Yeah, well, that's
okay.
the people that kind of like get through all the physical, like team stuff, and then the interrogation's the last bit. So I left just before that, and I didn't really want to do it anyway, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'd gotten to a point where I'd achieved everything I wanted to, and for me, the reason why I went on there is because I wanted to prove to myself that I'm in control of my own mindset. Even though a lot of the time I know that anyway, but I kind of felt like, when was it? So in 2021 now, aren't we? March. I think, when did I apply? I think I applied in like December 2019. No, yeah, that's right. Maybe December, January of 2020. And
to go through the whole thing, so when did you always want to do it and you've been applying for years, or you just saw it and you went for it? Or?
No, just saw it and I went for it because I was actually, at the time, I was in a relationship that, it wasn't the relationship itself, I don't think, it was my own mental health and insecurities were starting to sort of go on a downward spiral.
Okay, fair play.
And I just wanted a really extreme test to prove to myself that I could just control my mindset and just do whatever.
That's unbelievable, though. You've been at that. Recognise that that's unbelievable.
I mean, some
Yeah.
people go on holidays, some people
Yeah.
some people go on
Over spiders.
Yeah.
SAS, who dares wins. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And but I think just to give you some more context as to why I wanted to go to that extreme as well is because it's gonna get a bit deep now. So when the reason why I felt like things were starting to build as well, I just felt like there was something that was just blocking me in regards to like confidence, and I can't quite explain what it is, but I just felt like there was a big mental block, and I think a lot of it was tied around like intimacy and relationships and stuff like that. And then the more I thought about it, it went back to my childhood. When I was like 4 or 5, I was basically sexually abused by someone that was in the household for like 2-3 weeks. So then, and I'd been to therapy prior to that anyway, but I felt like it was that.
Really?
For whatever reason, despite me working on myself and, changing myself physically and everything else like that, there was just something in regards to like being vulnerable and being in a relationship that was bringing that out. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like it. I was like, but I want to face it. I want to get rid of it.
That's admirable, honestly.
Yeah.
And that has affected you in every like relationship since you were a kid?
Yeah. And like, I guess it's like, I didn't realise as well, because especially that relationship at the time, that was my first relationship with a woman. So that, for me, that was a first real relationship. Yeah. So that was like a massive vulnerability. Yeah, because with a lad, don't get me wrong, I never went into it, like, oh, this is just a cover up, because I genuinely sort of either really liked them or, just felt something there. But the attraction was just very like minimal. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was like the perfect storm of like, I need to do something now because I don't want to live the rest of my life having this block. And it wasn't too detrimental in regards to like affecting my mental health every day, but it was just, I was getting more and more volatile. I could just feel it. It was just so up and down. Yeah, and then despite me doing all the journaling and meditation and stuff like that, I was just like, I need something to fucking knock this fucker out of the park and just face it. So for me, I wanted to be put in an extreme scenario of knowing that mentally I'd have to face that. And I don't know if you watched the the Red Band Challenge, the one where I was beating that guy up.
Yeah.
So
it was sick, that one. So, have you seen SAS who win? So the Sengen, there's a guy who's like and the guy who you beat up as well. He was part of the SAS. Part of the thing. And you absolutely battered him. You absolutely laid into him.
So that task, the reason why that, again, it kind of circles back to what I said earlier. Like, I'm not a fighter. Never had a fight in my life.
You did all right in that.
I did all right in that, and I fucking scared myself as well. And the reason why that came out is because this is something that they don't show you on camera, but when you go down as like one at a time for the recruits to go and do that task, but whilst you were waiting, Melvin, the new DS, it was like getting you to trudge up every single horrible thing that's ever happened to you.
Like the tough before you go in.
Yeah,
Try
yeah.
to rile them, try to rile them,
Yeah,
like,
because they've got to
smash
get
them
you
with
to.
it.
Yeah, they've got to get you to a point where you're seeing red because they want you to be able to channel your aggression. And obviously, I was saying all this, and there was this one bit when I was watching it, you could see my lips going, and I was like, "Oh, there it is!" Like, and I was just fucking in tears because it was just like 20. No, just like whilst I was doing it, so it's like 20 odd years of like unexpressed emotion.
Yeah.
I'd never, because no one had ever given me the permission to sort of say, right,
Be angry.
everyone that's done you over or done horrible things to you, you fucking let it out now. So that's where that aggression came from, and I scared myself because I was like, what the fuck?
Do you I know you played rugby before. Do you take into your training in the rugby and?
Yeah.
You did.
More training because rugby was more of like a channeled aggression, like kind of just like putting your body on your line for your mates, that sort of stuff. But with training, I used to visualise like certain people. I used to train out of resentment to sort of prove them wrong. Like, I'm not letting this person dictate the quality of my life. So for years, I used to train out of resentment and just push myself. It was definitely a coping mechanism when I was growing up. But like that's why I was so active, and that's why I was training so hard. And I always wanted to be an athlete because I do feel like, you know, being physical and being active was my coping mechanism. I could just put everything into that. I could just bury myself and I'd feel better afterwards.
That's mad. I never knew that about you, Ian.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day, Scott.
Yes. Like, I don't mind talking about it, but I know that obviously it's hard for other people to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah.
I don't know how to come back from that because you like deep.
It's taking him up.
Do you reckon? So with the interrogation stuff, how do you think you'd have dealt with that mentally? Would you have like told yourself you can do this, you know, and thought about the bad times and wanted to prove a point? How do you think you would have dealt with it?
You know, that when I look back at it, I think this is where I'm just like, I've definitely probably cowered away from something in regards to conflict, because I generally, as a person, I don't enjoy conflict. I don't think many people do. Some people love it, to be fair.
Maniacs love it.
Yeah, maniacs. And so I think for me, I would really struggle with someone being in my face and just manipulating me.
Yeah.
And that's, I didn't want to, because of where I was as well, because I felt like I'd gained so much, I was in a really strong place, and I was like, I don't want this to crumble. And I'm not saying that it would have done, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that probably would have got me through was just thinking, like, this isn't real, it's just a test kind of thing, you know what I mean? But when you're in it, like, you're just so absorbed in it because you're in a world of hurt just from the sleep deprivation, being hungry as fuck, just being so tired because they beast you so much. They beast you so much. Like, there's so much that they don't show, and it's just like towards the back end of it, you're just like, I am running on fumes here, and you're still like.
Is it as relentless as it looks? Because I know that you said, you know, off camera, you said that there's a lot of things that you miss because, like, say it's a 45-minute episode, but you're there all day, every day. Is it really, really relentless where even yourself, who's very fit, going, fuck?
Yeah.
Is it that bad?
It's horrible. It is. It genuinely. You know, and I can't speak for any guys that have gone through Special Forces selection because they'll know different. But as a person doing it, compared to what they show, it's an authentic experience doing it. Like, from the second that you are in their hands, you're basically just a toy for them to just like, right, okay, let's fuck them up. Like, honestly, like, I can't even comprehend how difficult it is, like, physically and mentally. And yeah, even for someone that's like, you know, really fit like myself, like, there were so many moments I was just like, I can't.
Really?
I'm done. There were so many moments when my body was just numb. And then, you know, again, I was trudging things up, like, just thinking, right, okay, one foot in front of the other, come on, let's go. And, you know, the DS at times, Melvin especially, if he saw that I was struggling, he'd be like, come on. And he was like, anyone that's done you over, anyone that's fucking done you wrong, it's like, you think about them right now, you don't fucking let them take over, you fucking fight by it. And I was like, right, okay, here we go.
Second wind.
Yeah, second win, fucking about 15 on that.
Did you ever want to like punch Ant or like, you know, for beasting you or anything?
I mean,
there was a time where you thought, fuck you dickhead.
Yeah, there were
Was there really?
There were a couple. I wouldn't say it was Ant in particular. In fact, yeah, definitely.
yeah, actually, he's been sacked now. Yeah.
Like, the most stressful bit, I think, honestly, doing the stuff itself, because, you know, when you're in it, you're like, this is just going to be shit, so I'm just going to, you know, handle it. But when you're going in between the A to B locations, they got you in the Land Rover Defenders. hoods on, things on, goggles on.
What, are you
Really?
behind
Is that
camera,
what
like?
Yeah,
Is that what you
yeah.
get from
honestly.
A to B? I thought, because on camera it shows you with the
Yeah, because sometimes I take them off, but like
Right.
if they don't want us to sort of see where we're going or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
they're like pick and choose. So you go, oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, like because we
That's
never
mad.
knew how long the journey was going to be. Oh my god, you're just so stressed. And then whenever we'd stop, the way they scream at you, going get out, you're like oh fuck. And it's
You
like
can't see
so
anything,
yeah.
Wow.
Like, fuck.
Was it
get
all
your
real?
hands
Because I
on.
know episode 1 we got to train.
Oh my
Was
god.
that real?
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
real?
I was fuming they didn't put that in there.
Because episode, they didn't they?
No,
Episode
well,
1, they're on a train, literally got the bags, they're all having a chat, they're all thinking.
What's a normal public train?
Yeah,
And then they pull up to the place where they're going, and I assume you think, oh, you're going to get off, you're going to get on a bus, you're going to whatever. And then all the sergeants and, where they are, they all come and say, get out now! And they start beating you straight away.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
all real.
That
I was
was all
like,
real.
nah, that can't be real.
And they missed, honestly, this is what I mean. So they missed out so much. So the bit that you saw was that they dragged us off the cars and then they took us up to that mud pit.
Yeah.
You remember? There's so much happened before that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Like if you see it, you'll know exactly what I mean. So on the show, it looks like it's just from the train to that mud pit, making us run through it and drag each other. But dragged us off the train, made us hold a press up position for about 5 minutes, like until everyone was off the train, kicking water in our kicking water in our face, made us like front crawl down this horrible sort of like rocky shit. I've got a scar on my knee actually, like I literally, and whilst I was on there, I grazed my leggings and it like burnt my leg. And then it started going like gangrene, and it was sticking to my pants. Because I remember like, we went to go
day
do
1 as well?
something. It's like day 2, 3. It started going a bit yellow, and I stood up and I was like, oh, and I just went like that, and I was like, oh my god, I just ripped it off. And then the mole at the time, who was the mole, I showed him, and it was just like, oh, and he started getting all medical shit out, and I was like, how do you know so much about medical stuff?
So, the next question, did you know that he was the mole?
No, well, a couple of moments down, I was a bit like, First of all, you're a bit too. Ant Stasica. He's a ex-Special Forces SBS dude. Absolute legend.
So he seemed like a contestant in the show?
Yes,
Yeah.
So before the going, how many would start
I
there?
see.
There was 21 of us, including him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were told beforehand there was a mole in the team?
No.
It wasn't, it's just on the TV.
No. So it's literally like, you assume, obviously, cause if you've watched it before, you know that's probably going to be one, but you can't assume that there always is.
Okay.
But it were a couple of bits here and there where he kind of gave himself away.
I'm sorry, but it looks like a chiseled.
Yeah, well, that when I even said, I went, and I was like, fucking hell. I was like, ripped as fucking. He didn't respond, and I was like, he's doing that on purpose.
Well, I say the whole thing gonna give it away from me, like.
Yeah.
That's why I put you on. But I so you didn't know that there was a mole in the team?
No.
You couldn't have like gone, which one of you is it?
No.
Okay.
It was literally just he got put through everything that we got put through, and there was only little bits where he was being himself. He didn't want to be like a grey man and just sort of ignore everybody. But there were a couple of things like with the medical stuff, helping out with my knee and stuff. I was like, how do you know so much? And I was like, oh, prison officer, like, they're always beating each other up. And I was like, oh, whatever. So yeah.
When you watched it back on TV, did you think, you little bastard, where he's there talking, man, he's getting some food and
yeah.
Do you remember you got food off him as well and stuff? So you get what were you fed?
It started off alright, to be fair, like chicken, rice and veggies, but because we were loving it, they actually fucked with it. Yeah, they even when we came out, when we came out, they were just like, you was enjoying it too much, so they put salt in our porridge, and it was minging. I was smashing it as well.
I mean, so you still have to eat it though, don't you? Because that's all you've got.
Yeah. But we had like jam and sugar normally, because we was really enjoying that. Any form of joy that we were having was like, right, I'm going to take that away because that's not happening here.
I hate these chocolate bars.
yeah. This sugar's disgusting.
So who won then? Because I've not actually watched it, and I've stopped watching when you left.
Loads of people did that, to be fair, I think.
I'm not like
I watched it, but I was like, oh, they're like 3 days
it was on every
later.
Sunday and at 9 o'clock, and I used to miss playing Fortnite because you all come online. I used to not come on Fortnite just to listen and watch it. And then at the start of the episode, it went, unfortunately, Reanne and the other lady have now left. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's not what I did.
What was the question again?
Who won?
Oh, Connor, the Irish dancer, and Kieran, the guy with the dreadlocks.
Did you win it,
No
mate?
way, I didn't.
You won
I
it?
did now. I won it.
Yeah.
Good.
Katie Taylor won it.
I didn't know about Katie Taylor.
Cool stuff.
Oh, I'm sweating like fuck.
Yeah.
I need a drink.
Cool, right, well, she's got another 5 minutes, so we'll start to wrap it up, not yet.
Yeah.
So...
Mikey, step back, son.
Sit down. So, I'll wrap it up.
Anything you
Who's
want.
on next week?
Bernie, I've asked Bernie if he wants to come.
So,
Can you get Cole as well?
He's going to find out
hey,
if
is
he's
that Cole's
available.
board on Netherland Road?
Yeah.
Is that Cole?
Yeah.
Oh, right, I didn't think of that.
I
That'd
need
be
to
time.
make him know. I text Bernie over there and he...
What is it?
Cheers, Bernie, ignored it, mate.
Oh, I'll tell him. No, I'll ask him. He said if Cole's free, 'cause they're at studio all the time.
Yeah,
so if you can.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on.
problem.
We've been doing this podcast now for quite a while, and you're one of the first people I thought of a guest to have on, especially when I saw you on SAS Who Dares Wins.
Yeah.
What would you like to give a message out there to people who are maybe going through struggles and how they can overcome it?
Yeah. I guess one of the first things is, as daunting as it might be, don't be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
You definitely find someone that you trust. You know, I'm not ashamed of saying that I've been to therapy. I think people a lot of the times assume that therapy means that you have to be in a really dark place. Sometimes it could just be that you just feel a bit like all over and you just can't sort of manage your thoughts. Talk to somebody and just do things that bring you joy and just sort of express gratitude much more, because it's so easy to just sort of go through life every day and not really count your blessings. And the more awareness you bring about how your thinking affects your everyday life, the better. So speaking to somebody, surround yourself with your mates that love you no matter what, and you'll be absolutely fine.
If there's anybody out there that wants to be coached by you and get in touch with you and talk to you about stuff or about the coaching that you do and stuff, where can they find you? How can they sort of initiate that contact?
Yeah, best place is just on Instagram, which is just Reanne_Francis. Drop me a message. Regularly, put videos out and stuff, and saying to people if they're ever struggling, just to drop me a message, because it can be quite daunting for people to ask for help,
Yeah, of course,
especially with that. So even just saying, oh, hey, saw you on X, Y, and Z, want to inquire about coaching, just drop me a message on Instagram. That's the best way.
Something I think like you do is really great, and this is where I don't like to message just straight away off Instagram. So
Yeah.
you do, which is really great, is you always put the questions of ask me anything.
Yeah.
And I'm always on there like, right, well, can you just give me something to do with food or with whatever, and
Yeah.
try and get help, which is good, so people can maybe look at that as well to message you.
100%.
Cool. We've got a lot coming up this week, haven't we, Thorp? A lot of people coming up on the podcast.
There's actually a lad that's coming on potentially next week or the week after, and he's just raised 15k for NHS through singing and doing live shows.
Nice.
Massive Leeds fan as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he's going to
wicked.
come on, he's going to talk about how he got to where he is now. And there's actually a guy who does actual Leeds United songs, and he's a feature on actual Leeds United songs, who's one of his pals, so
Go
they're
on.
coming as well. So
What do you
please
mean,
look out
like
for that.
the actual song?
Don't worry about that.
Exciting, that.
Don't watch that.
Oh shit.
So,
We've also got a
so we've
huge event that we're doing as well in a couple of weeks, which we'll put a video out about that the weekend after.
If you go look at Q's charity on Facebook, Darren down there is amazing.
Yeah.
It's to raise money for Rob Burrows and MND. And please have a look, please follow it, please watch. Go buy a ticket as well, because there's still tickets going. There's over 1,000 have been sold already. But everything that Daz is doing there is absolutely unbelievable, so please go check it out. But yeah, we're going to be covering that as well with your boy Mikey over there.
The fucking
Lovely.
boss.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Cool. So Thorp, where can they find us?
Instagram. Have we got Facebook yet? We haven't got
No,
Facebook.
we
We will have
By the time it
Facebook.
comes
By
out,
the
we'll.
time this comes out,
We will
maybe.
do, yeah.
We'll have Facebook, YouTube, Breaking the Mould, all that. Like, subscribe, do all that. Come on.
If you want to buy any merch, any t-shirts.
Oh yeah, we got mugs here, we got a mug there. We got bags, we got t-shirts, everything you want. We will find it. We'll get it for
drop
you.
us a message. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.